"You're demonstrating a lack of dedication to our group," Lawrence remarked, reclining in his seat as if terminating my employment was doing me a favor. My name is Jared Monroe. I had devoted the past 4 years of my existence generating millions for Driefield Robotics, while my personal finances remained virtually unchanged. At 29 years old, I was still hunting for bargains on sale racks and continuing to drive the same decade-old Honda my folks assisted me in purchasing during my university years. I remained seated, observing Lawrence Bennett, our sales vice president, with his bespoke suit and the type of suntan unattainable in Raleigh, North Carolina, during March, the kind acquired from corporate trips to Miami in the heart of winter. He was fixated on me, anticipating that I would plead, justify, or create a commotion. "I comprehend," I responded. His eyebrows twitched, showing he hadn't anticipated that reaction. "Your employment terminates immediately. I require you to vacate your desk. April will accompany you to Human Resources for your exit documentation." I acknowledged with a nod, rose from my chair, and extended my arm across his enormous oak desk to shake his hand. He paused before accepting my handshake. "I appreciate the opportunity," I stated. The journey back to my workstation was silent. Everyone pretended to be occupied, yet everyone stole glances. Information circulates rapidly in an open workspace. I could sense their eyes following me as I retrieved a cardboard container from the supply area. I didn't possess much to collect. A coffee cup my sister had purchased for me, several pens that actually functioned, and the small cactus I'd somehow maintained alive under fluorescent illumination for 3 years. 4 years at this organization, and everything I owned fit into a box smaller than a microwave. April lingered nearby, her keys jingling in her palm, monitoring me as if I might pilfer the stapler or ignite my desk on my departure. I had brought in over $2 million in new commerce last quarter alone. $2 million. And they suspected I might steal a stapler. As I proceeded toward the elevator, Tyler emerged from his office. Tyler Davis, my immediate supervisor, the individual who had claimed credit for half my transactions, the man who had assured me on 3 separate occasions that my salary increase was in process and merely awaiting Lawrence's authorization. He avoided eye contact. "Be certain to surrender your badge at security," he muttered, then vanished back into his office. I entered the elevator, badge already in my grip. As the doors shut, I glimpsed my reflection in the polished metal. I didn't appear fired. I didn't look angry. I appeared lighter, as if I had released something weighty. I just wasn't aware of it yet. I began at Driefield directly after college. Business degree from State University, decent grade point average, nothing exceptional except I could communicate with people, truly communicate with them, discern what they required, and discover a method to provide it to them. My father always told me, a competent salesperson sells products. An exceptional salesperson resolves problems. Dad had devoted 30 years to the trenches of pharmaceutical sales, missed more than a few baseball games, but ensured we never worried about finances. When I secured the Driefield position, he was proud, saying it was a reputable company with potential for advancement. For the initial 2 years, I believed it. Worked 60-hour weeks, acquired all knowledge about industrial automation, established relationships with manufacturing clients throughout the Southeast, earned Rookie of the Year, and then Top Performer the subsequent year. I thought I was constructing something. Then I watched Tyler get promoted above me despite my figures being twice his. He possesses more management experience, they claimed. Then I observed him receive credit for the Westbrook deal, a client I had spent 6 months cultivating. Then I witnessed him acquire a company vehicle. Small matters initially, meeting invitations that somehow missed my inbox, client details that reached me a day tardy, Remarks in meetings like, "Are you confident that's the appropriate approach for this client?" Minor cuts day after day. I kept my focus and continued working, kept delivering until last month when I finalized the Abbott manufacturing agreement. $2 million, our largest contract of the year. I had flown to Chicago 3 times at my own expense because the company couldn't justify the expenditure. I had worked weekends, skipped my cousin's wedding, made it happen. When the contract came through, Lawrence took the team out for beverages, everyone except me. I discovered it from Instagram posts the next day, when I eventually mustered the courage to inquire about a raise, my 3rd attempt. Lawrence informed me the timing wasn't suitable, that the company was reorganizing compensation packages. That evening, I updated my resume for the first time in 4 years. A week later, Vanessa Mills, a former Driefield client who had transitioned to Revelin Publishing, reached out on LinkedIn. "We should reconnect," she wrote. We had coffee. She mentioned they were seeking someone to lead their new business development division, someone with technical sales expertise, someone like me. I took one vacation day, one day I had earned, for an interview. Someone spotted me in the lobby of the Rollin building and informed Tyler. That was yesterday. I remained in my car in the Driefield parking area for nearly an hour after security took my badge, just sitting there, air conditioning running, gazing at the structure where I had spent 4 years of my life. 4 years of early mornings and late evenings. 4 years of, "We'll take care of you," and "You're part of the family," and "Just persevere." My phone vibrated. A text from Tyler. "Sorry about how things transpired. Just adhering to protocol." I turned off my phone without replying and drove home. My apartment felt different when I entered. Emptier somehow, even though nothing had changed. I placed my box on the kitchen counter and opened a beer. Then I sat on my couch and engaged in something I hadn't done in years. Absolutely nothing. No emails, no calls, no proposals to review. I just sat there consuming my beer, watching the afternoon light traverse my living room wall. Around 7, I reactivated my phone. 3 missed calls from my parents. A text from my sister asking if I was okay. Apparently Tyler had called her searching for me, which was a boundary I didn't even realize could be crossed. And an email from Vanessa at Rollin. "Can you come in tomorrow 10 a.m.? The team would like to meet you." I responded with a single word. "Yes." Then I phoned my parents. "They did you a favor," my father said after I explained what happened, not what I expected him to say. "How's that?" "They revealed to you exactly who they are, son. No more illusions. No more maybe. Now you understand." He was correct. All those instances I had given them the benefit of the doubt. All those times I had blamed myself for not laboring hard enough, not being visible enough, not playing the game adeptly enough. All those occasions I had swallowed my pride and continued pushing forward because I believed loyalty signified something. It didn't, not to them. I had been terminated for taking one day, a day I had earned, to search for what they would never provide me: fair compensation, respect, a future. My mother joined the call. "What do you need, honey? Want us to visit this weekend?" "No," I said, suddenly lucid. "I'm fine, actually. I think this might be the best occurrence that could have happened." And I meant it. For the first time in a considerable while, I experienced something other than fatigue, something other than that low-grade anxiety that had become my constant companion. I felt liberated. That night, I slept better than I had in months. In the morning, I donned my best suit, the one I had purchased for important client meetings that Lawrence always managed to attend instead of me. I appeared good, rested, prepared. The interview at Rollin exceeded my expectations. They had already verified my references, already spoken with 3 of my former clients, including Abbott Manufacturing. They recognized precisely what I was worth. They offered me the position immediately. Regional Director of Business Development, double my Driefield salary plus commission. I accepted without delay. "When can you begin?" Vanessa inquired. I smiled. "Right away." I signed the contract with Roland on Friday afternoon, commenced the following Monday. They provided me an office with a door and a window, a company credit card, a team of 3 sales associates, and most importantly, they gave me something Driefield never possessed, a clear path forward. "We want you to expand this division," Vanessa elucidated. "Build it from the foundation up. Your reputation with clients is why we hired you." For the initial 2 weeks, everything was flawless. I learned the systems, met the team, began constructing a strategy. I even sent LinkedIn connection requests to my former colleagues at Driefield. Most accepted. A few sent congratulatory messages. Tyler and Lawrence didn't reply. I wasn't concerned. I was too occupied, feeling like I was finally where I belonged. Then the cease and desist letter arrived. "Mr. Monroe is in violation of his non-compete agreement," it read. "He is hereby instructed to terminate his employment, with Rollin Publishing immediately, or face legal action." I had never signed a non-compete, I was certain of it. I called Rollin's legal department in panic. "Don't worry," the attorney said. "Send me all your onboarding documentation from Driefield. We'll manage this." I went home that evening and searched through my files, found my original offer letter, my employment agreement, my most recent performance evaluation, nothing about a non-compete, nothing regarding restrictions on future employment. The next day, Driefield's attorneys sent over a document with my signature on it, a non-compete agreement dated 3 years ago, right after my Rookie of the Year award. It restricted me from working for any competitor within 100 miles for 1 year after departing Driefield, but I hadn't signed it. The signature resembled mine, but I had no recollection of ever seeing this document. Did you ever sign anything during a performance review? Maybe something they told you was routine. Ravlin's attorney questioned. I thought back 3 years ago, my first performance review after the award. Lawrence had given me a stack of papers. "Just standard paperwork updates," he had said. "Sign at the flags." I had trusted him. "They're claiming Rollin is a direct competitor," the attorney continued, "which is a stretch since you sell publishing equipment and they sell industrial automation, but they're pressing hard. This could become expensive." "Will I lose my job?" I asked, the familiar knot of anxiety returning to my stomach. "Not if I can help it, but be prepared. They might attempt to tarnish your reputation through the mud. This feels personal." It was personal. The following day, I received an email from one of my biggest former clients at Driefield. "Just had an unusual call from your old boss," it read. "He implied you took proprietary client information when you left. Wanted to know if you'd contacted me. I told him you'd always conducted yourself with integrity. What's happening?" I forwarded the email to our legal team, my hands trembling with rage. They weren't just trying to prevent me from working. They were attempting to destroy my reputation, the very thing that had made me valuable despite their own efforts to minimize me. That evening, my phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. "Jared, this is Jessica from accounting at Driefield." Her voice was hushed, nervous. "I'm not supposed to be calling you, but you were always decent to me. You need to know something. They're saying you stole client files, but it's not true. I saw Lawrence in the server room the day after you left. He was downloading your entire client folder. Then he deleted the original files and declared you must have taken them." "Would you be willing to tell that to my attorney?" I asked. "I can't," she said. "I need this job. I just thought you should know what you're confronting." She disconnected before I could thank her. I sat in my new office, peering out the window at the Raleigh skyline, and realized this wasn't going to be as straightforward as walking away. They weren't going to permit me to succeed. They were going to try to drag me back down. And for the first time since I'd been fired, I was genuinely angry. The legal battle extended for weeks. Relland supported me, but the stress was taking its toll. Each day introduced a new accusation from Driefield: client theft, corporate espionage, breach of contract. It was as if they were throwing everything at the wall to see what would adhere. "We need to find leverage," my attorney said. "Right now, it's your word against theirs about the non-compete. And even though we believe it's forged, it'll be costly to prove." I nodded, contemplating what Jessica had told me about the client files, about Lawrence in the server room. There was a pattern here, a willingness to lie, to manipulate, to create false evidence. "What about my commission payments?" I asked suddenly. "The last quarter I was there, I brought in the Abbott deal, $2 million. My commission should have been substantial, but my final paycheck was normal. No bonus, no commission." The attorney made a note. "Good. That's something concrete we can investigate." That evening I received a text from Tyler. "We should talk, not about the legal stuff. It's important." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him at a coffee shop halfway between our offices. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, rumpled shirt, none of his usual polished appearance. "I can't be connected to this conversation," he said as soon as he sat down. "I could lose everything." I simply waited. "The non-compete, it's not just you. Lawrence has been doing this for years. Gets people to sign routine paperwork during reviews, then adds pages later. The signatures are authentic, but the documents aren't what people signed." "Why are you telling me this?" He looked down at his coffee. "Because you're not the first person they've done this to, but you're the first one who fought back, and they're scared." "Why would they be afraid of me? I just want to do my job." Tyler leaned forward. "It's not about you. It's about the money. The commission structure at Driefield isn't what anyone believes it is. The percentages in our contracts, they're not genuine. Lawrence has been skimming from every major deal for years. That's why they're pursuing you so aggressively. They fear you'll figure it out." My mind raced back to all those deals, all that money, the commissions that never seemed to align with what I'd calculated, the bonuses that were always less than promised because of adjustments, and overhead allocations that were never clearly explained. "How do you know this?" I asked. "I found the real books. By accident. I was searching for a client file on Lawrence's computer when he stepped out of a meeting. His spreadsheets were open, 2 sets of commission calculations, the real ones and the ones actually paid out. The difference went into an account labeled Executive Performance Fund." "You didn't say anything." Tyler's face flushed. "I confronted him. He offered me a cut, said it was standard practice, that the senior team had always done it this way, said I'd earned my place at the table." "So you took it?" He didn't deny it. "I have a mortgage, kids in private school. I told myself it was just how business operated." "Why tell me now?" "Because they're not just pursuing you, they're setting you up. Lawrence told the board you manipulated the Abbott contract numbers, that you inflated the deal to get a larger commission. That's why they're saying you stole files, to cover up the fraud they're pinning on you." I felt cold all over. "But that's completely false. Abbott can verify the contract value. They've already started creating a paper trail, backdated emails, revised contracts. They're thorough, Jared, and they have resources." I studied Tyler's face, looking for deception. "Why should I believe you? You've never been on my side before." He pulled out his phone. "Because I kept receipts. He displayed a series of screenshots, commission spreadsheets, email exchanges, bank transfers, all proving exactly what he described. "Send those to me," I said. "If I do, I'm finished at Driefield, probably in this industry." "You already are," I replied. "The only question is whether you go down with them or help me expose this." Tyler gazed at me for a long moment, then began forwarding the emails. The evidence Tyler provided transformed everything, not just for my case, but potentially for dozens of former and current Driefield employees who'd been cheated out of their rightful commissions. The scheme had been operating for years, affecting potentially millions in compensation. "This is much bigger than a non-compete dispute," my attorney said when I showed her Tyler's documents. "This is systematic fraud." But we had a problem. Tyler wasn't willing to go on record. The screenshots and forwarded emails would be considered hearsay without his testimony, and Driefield had deep pockets for legal battles. They could tie this up in court for years. "We need more," she said. "We need someone with direct knowledge who's willing to testify." I thought about Jessica from accounting, but she was too frightened of losing her job. I needed someone who had nothing to lose, or better yet, someone who had already lost. That night, I created a list of everyone who had departed Driefield in the past 2 years. People who had quit suddenly or been fired under suspicious circumstances. People who, like me, might have started asking questions about their commissions. One name stood out: Kevin Blackwell, former top performer in the Eastern region, abruptly resigned last year amid rumors of drinking problems. I'd never believed those rumors. Kevin was a family man, a deacon at his church, and one of the most straight-laced guys I knew. I found him on LinkedIn. He was working for a small company now, earning significantly less than he would have at Driefield. I sent him a message. "Need to discuss Lawrence Bennett and commissions at Driefield. It's important." He responded within minutes. "I've been awaiting this call." We met the next day. Kevin didn't appear like a man with drinking problems. He looked like a man who'd been carrying a heavy burden. "They fired me because I discovered the spreadsheets," he said without preamble. "Same ones Tyler showed you, but I went further. I documented everything, tracked the money. It wasn't just commissions. It was expense account fraud, kickbacks from vendors, inflated project costs. Lawrence and the CFO had a whole system." "Do you have proof?" Kevin nodded. "I have everything: bank records, emails, the works. I was building a case to take to the board when Lawrence found out. Next thing I knew, there were rumors about my drinking problem. Then a client complained about me showing up to a meeting intoxicated, a meeting I never even attended. 2 weeks later, I was out." "Why didn't you fight back? Go to the authorities?" "They threatened my family, Jared." His voice was steady, but his hands trembled slightly. "Nothing direct, just a conversation about how my wife's nursing job at Memorial Hospital might be in jeopardy if I made trouble. How my kids might not be welcome back at their school. They have connections. They made that very clear." I felt sick. "But you kept the evidence?" "Every bit of it, on an encrypted drive off-site. I've been waiting for someone else to notice, someone they couldn't threaten the same way." "Someone like me," I said. Kevin nodded. "You don't have a family they can threaten. You've already been fired. And most importantly, you've got Rowland behind you. They have resources too." We spent the next 3 hours examining Kevin's evidence. It was damning, not just for Lawrence and Tyler, but for half the executive team at Driefield. They'd been systematically defrauding their own sales force of millions in commissions over at least 5 years. "We need to take this to the authorities," I said. "This is criminal." "I'm prepared," Kevin replied, "but we need to be smart. These people won't go down without a fight." That night, I called Vanessa and explained everything. This could get messy, I warned. I understand if Roland wants to distance themselves. Her response surprised me. Distance ourselves? Jared, we hired you because of your integrity. We're not just going to support you. We're going to help you end this. Driefield has been operating unethically for years, harming the whole industry. It's time someone confronted them. For the first time since this began, I felt like I might actually win. The case broke wide open faster than anyone anticipated. With Kevin's evidence and Roland's legal resources, we didn't just file a countersuit against Driefield. We took everything to the Securities and Exchange Commission and the State Attorney General's office. The investigation progressed quickly. Bank records were subpoenaed. Witnesses were deposed. Former employees came forward with their own stories of manipulation and fraud. 3 weeks after our initial filing, federal agents entered Driefield's headquarters with warrants. I wasn't present to witness it, but Tyler called me that evening. They took everything, he said, his voice hollow. Computers, servers, files. Lawrence was escorted out in front of everyone, the CFO too. I said nothing. I've been suspended pending investigation, he continued. They're saying I could face criminal charges. You probably will, I replied, but your cooperation will count for something. A week later, Driefield withdrew their lawsuit against me. 2 days after that, their stock plummeted when news of the fraud investigation hit the business press. Former employees began filing a class action lawsuit for unpaid commissions. Clients started abandoning ship, unwilling to be associated with the scandal. Through it all, I kept my focus and concentrated on building my division at Roland. I didn't give interviews. I didn't gloat on social media. I just performed my job. Then one morning, I received an email from Lawrence's personal account. We should talk. I can explain everything. Meet me for lunch. I forwarded the email to my attorney without responding. The next day, the Business Journal published a story. Driefield Robotics CEO and executive team stepped down amid fraud allegations. There was Lawrence's photo next to a quote from the board chairman. We are cooperating fully with authorities and are committed to making this right. I closed the browser tab and returned to work. 3 months to the day after I was fired, the court ordered Driefield to pay me $147,000 in back commissions plus damages. The check arrived by courier the following week. I didn't cash it immediately. I just placed it on my desk and looked at it, not because I needed the validation, but because I wanted to remember what it had cost to get here, the truth. 1 year later, I stood in front of the Roland sales team, presenting our quarterly results. We had doubled our division's revenue, expanded into 2 new markets, built a reputation for honesty and transparency with our commission structure that was attracting top talent from across the industry, including 3 former Driefield employees who'd been part of the class action settlement. The news about Driefield had faded from the headlines. Lawrence and the CFO had taken plea deals. Tyler had avoided imprisonment by cooperating with prosecutors, but his career in sales was effectively over. The company itself had been acquired by a competitor at a fraction of its former value. I rarely thought about any of them anymore. After the meeting, Vanessa pulled me aside. Board approved your promotion to vice president, effective next month. I thanked her, genuinely grateful but not surprised. We'd built something genuine here, something that functioned. That evening, I drove to my parents' house for dinner. They'd relocated to Raleigh 6 months ago, partly to be closer to me, partly because my father was finally ready to retire. He'd followed the Driefield story closely, more invested in my vindication than I was sometimes. Proud of you, son, he said as we sat on his back porch after dinner, not because you won, but because you did it right. Didn't let them make you bitter. Didn't let them change who you are. I nodded, observing the sunset through the trees. It was never about retaliating against them. I know, he said. It was about the truth. We sat in comfortable silence for a while. So, he finally said with a smile, Vice President, huh? Does this mean you're finally going to purchase a new car? I laughed. Maybe, but I think I'll keep the Honda a little longer. It reminds me of something important. What's that? That the fastest way up isn't cutting corners. It's building something that endures. My father raised his glass. I'll drink to that. So did I.